With an understanding of the basic pattern of a blood vessel, which was covered in an earlier presentation and which is reviewed here, we see that blood vessels have three tunics or layers, as is common with all tubular anatomy. However, there are many named types of blood vessels. Why all the different named vessels, and how do they relate to the basic pattern? In this presentation, you will learn about the artery side of the circulatory tree, as you learn about elastic arteries, muscular arteries, and arterioles, and how and why their anatomy differs from the basic pattern. The pulmonary trunk from the right ventricle, the large aorta that leaves the left ventricle, and its initial large branches are elastic arteries that function as the main conducting arteries for the blood as it exits the pumping heart. These large garden hose-sized arteries modify the basic pattern by having a thick, predominantly elastic tissue tunica media. Note the consecutive layers of elastic lamellae that form layer upon layer of elastic plates in the wall of the elastic artery. There can be as many as 52 of these lamellar units in a large elastic artery like the aorta. Before we leave this photo, note that this dissection demonstrates a structural variation to the typical anatomy. Can you describe the variation? Correct. The brachiocephalic artery did not form, and the right subclavian and right common carotid arteries both arise directly from the aorta. Now back to elastic arteries. Let's think about why the basic vessel pattern is modified in this way. Blood pumped by the muscular ventricles moves forcefully and rapidly into the large elastic arteries. This stretches these vessels, which store elastic energy, and then recoil to sustain a smooth, continuous blood flow, despite the pulsatile output of the heart pump. This is very efficient because the stored elastic recoil is free and does not incur a metabolic expense, as would be the case if these vessels were predominantly muscle tissue. So we see a logical modification of the basic pattern in these large elastic arteries. The medium and small arteries in the circulatory pathway are termed muscular arteries. They are the distribution vessels that carry blood to all the regions and organs of the body. Like elastic arteries, they have a thick tunica media, but it is predominantly smooth muscle. In fact, about 75% of the tunica media of a muscular artery consists of smooth muscle cells that are arranged in a circular to spiral pattern in the vessel wall. Distributed between the muscle are fine elastic fibers that parallel the muscle cells. The majority of the named arteries in the body fall in this category. They range in size from about 1.5 centimeters, like the femoral artery, to small arteries that penetrate into muscles and other organs that are as small as 0.5 millimeters in diameter. Note the thick layers of circumferentially ordered smooth muscle in the thick tunica media. The contractile activity of the muscle throws the internal and external elastic membranes into a wave-like appearance. Why this structural arrangement in muscular arteries? To maintain an efficient blood flow through this large distributing portion of the arterial tree, it is essential that the pressure generated by the pumping heart is not dissipated and lost. The ability of the muscular arteries to contract and maintain a state of partial contraction is referred to as vascular tone. This vascular tone stiffens the vessel wall and is important in maintaining vessel pressure and efficient blood flow. They also help regulate the amount of flow that enters various regions of the body. The final vessels in the arterial tree are tiny vessels named arterioles, which means little arteries. This extensive network of vessels, estimated to number in the neighborhood of 400 million, form the resistance vessels that regulate blood flow into the capillaries. Like muscular arteries, arterioles have a thick tunica media for their size. It consists of a few layers of large, smooth muscle cells arranged circumferentially. Because of their small size, from 30 to 15 micrometers in diameter, the muscular tunica media forms a relatively greater proportion of the vessel's total diameter, approaching about 1/2 of the total diameter of the arteriole. Note the other layers of the vessel are present but contribute minimally to the thickness of the wall. Arterioles also are the most densely innervated blood vessels in the body. Why these modifications to the structure of arterioles? Arterioles are called resistance vessels because they regulate the amount of blood that enters the capillaries. When the smooth muscle of the tunica media contracts, it causes vasoconstriction, or narrowing of the vessel. Because of their small size, this narrowing can reduce the diameter or completely close the arteriole, increasing the resistance to greatly reduce or stop the blood flow into the capillaries. When the muscle relaxes, the vessels widen, referred to as arterial vasodilation, and the blood flow increases. Arterioles, therefore, function as sphincters that regulate blood flow through the circulatory system. So the common theme among the vessels we call arteries, the efferent vessels, or vessels that carry blood away from the heart, is that they all have a thick tunica media that consists of either lots of elastic tissue or lots of muscle. This is important in their function as vessels carrying blood away from the muscular pump to supply all the tissues of the body.